What has this pandemic ruined for you? My dad's funeral. I'm so sorry. My dad is currently dying of cancer at the hospital alone. No visitors allowed. My mom was kicked out of his room a week ago. It's agonizing that he's alone. These are crazy times. Wow. Reading this was an instant kick to the stomach. I feel so sad for your father and family. I was meant to be getting married in 5 weeks. Also, I work in aviation. My whole future has been turned upside down over the last few days. I'm in Australia BTW. So things are right side up now. Seeing as I have the virus, 25 meters, and have spent the last 2 days sweating, with a fever bouncing all over the place, and a throat that is in massive pain, I would say it ruined the past few days of mine. On the bright side, you'll soon have those sweet antibodies. My ignorant unintelligent side sort of wishes I could just go ahead and get it, so I can stop worrying about getting it. I'd feel like a superhero walking back in public spaces after it passed. Having loved ones in nursing homes that are closed to visitors. The rule is completely reasonable and necessary. Still, we miss each other. They feel isolated and lonely as they are not physically able to talk on the phone, hard of hearing too, and have no one to spend time with them. This breaks my heart. My mom is in the hospital, and I'm scared they will tell us that there is no more visiting until further notice. Also, she is on a vent, so I don't want it to get to a situation where they are going to choose who gets a vent and who doesn't, because I know the hospital she is at is already short on them without a pandemic. While it's a reasonable fear, I can't imagine, possibly being naive, that any hospital staff would ever remove a vent from someone who still needs it. I feel like it's much more likely they would triage the new people coming in based on need and stock levels. Either way, I hope all goes well for you and your family. Times are tough out there. My parents are sick, and I can't go visit them. Mood friend. My father got a terminal diagnosis of 6 months 2 years about 3 weeks before it got really bad here. He lives in another country and IDK when I'm gonna be able to visit him. I'm doing extra quarantine procedures to protect myself, but man, I dunno. We WhatsApp and FaceTime all the time, but it's not the same, and I haven't seen him in almost a year. On top of everything, the NCAA tournament got cancelled, which is a big bonding thing for the two of us. I'm worried he won't get another one. Sucks. Me too. My dad was given less than 6 months in September with pancreatic cancer. My dad is in Texas and I'm in California. We were supposed to go see him for a week on the 17th of March. Now I'm not sure I'll see my dad ever again. I wish I would have known the last time I hugged him in January was the last time. I'm so sorry about your father. Made Olympic trials for the first time. Was super excited to go and compete. Now every single gym and pool on the planet is closed, and even if there weren't, the meet itself is postponed and likely to be cancelled. It's not the end of the world, but damn, it was really something for me to look forward to. I'm sorry. That really sucks. Small businesses. These guys are going to be decimated. Yeah, I own a medium-sized business, 150 employees. I'm a natural saver and have been saving for recession since 2016, so I'm in a better spot than most, but with the current devastation I still think we can only hang on about 6 to 8 months. No layoffs yet, just small cut on hours, but the longer it goes there is only so much I can do. Wow, 150 employees, and you plan to survive for 6 to 8 months. Congrats my dude, good job. I'm a restaurant bartender in Florida. This was going to be a really busy spring break for us after a slow winter that got me behind on bills. They haven't told us to go to takeout only yet, but I feel like it's coming soon. Our neighbors get the bulk of their cash flow during spring break and it tides them over for the rest of the year. Spring break was just shut down, so they are scrambling. This pandemic is really showing just how close to being out on the street most Americans really are. Miss a small amount of work or an event like spring break that you depend on and it's disastrous. Respect for my boss has been peddling conspiracy theories and says that this is no big deal and people are overreacting. Nobody can work from home, even though most only need a computer with internet to do our jobs, and is refusing to implement any preventive measures. The kicker, he's the health and safety manager. At this point, is that still his decision? When the government is the one implementing the rule, doesn't matter what he believes, you have to stay home. Period. The area manager at my company is one of these ashats. 2. Making people physically come into an office that is literally in the same commercial complex as an Novant test site for COVID-19. He didn't respond to common sense, reasoning or any appeal to humanity. So I spoke his language in terms that he could understand. If I come to this office, get infected and take this virus home to my family, I will not only file a lawsuit against the company itself, but I will name you personally liable as the decision maker who was responsible for implementing this policy. The next day we were told to work from home indefinitely. I had my first trip to Italy booked, and it was going to be the trip of a lifetime, and now it's cancelled. Venice? Yeah, and traveling all round. Meeting my great grandmother for the first time. It was my first time leaving my country and the trip was a limited offer. Senior year. For my little sister is the same. Classes are exclusively online and of course graduation party is cancelled. She feels like her high school life just ended without any warning or time to say goodbye, and she's really sad. I'm sorry you're going through the same experience, dude. It sucks balls. My school just cancelled everything without online classes. I have no idea if I'm gonna graduate on time. Was supposed to go on my first date in about 2 years yesterday, but she has to be quarantined for 2 weeks. Can you do a virtual date? Like you guys Skype and talk like you would on a date? I feel like that'd be terrible. At least with a normal date there's a good finite ending. A Skype date doesn't really have one. My business has to declare bankruptcy. I have to fire 5 people with no financial support to offer them, and I myself will be homeless. So pretty much ruined my life. Hey man, this is not legal advice, but if you are in America and you rent or own your home mortgaged, the moratorium on evictions and foreclosures can keep you in a home at least for a little bit. If you have to let employees go, look at your state's unemployment qualifications, as many have made an unpaid leave of absence a qualifying term. Additionally, and I'm not suggesting you go into debt here, but if the US govt, and you are in the US, passes the forgivable loans for paying expenses and salaries, you might consider that to at least buy you some time to get on your feet. Really sorry to hear this for you, though. I'm in the same position, and I'm doing everything possible, but still getting destroyed. And, in response to someone else's comment that you might have already been on the verge, that is not necessarily the case. We were not on the verge at all, and just hitting our busy season, but our services and billables are tied to markets that are crashing, and those that have been postponed, closed, or otherwise, court closures. Are you an attorney also? I'm still grinding out work, because some immigration courts are not closing. We still must meet filing deadlines despite us closing their office. My toddler climbs on me as I type. I tutor my other one in between motions. Most clients aren't buying into this pandemic either, so they're like, oh that sucks, so when am I getting my work permit? My dad has emphysema and has started showing signs of having contracted the virus. So I have to sit here and watch him get sicker and sicker every day. He can't get tested until symptoms get worse. I'm preparing myself mentally for this virus to kill him. He's always had health problems, and we are careful to make sure he doesn't even contract the common cold. This has been a nightmare. It's ruined my state of mind, my everyday life, my everything. A friendship. My best friend is still having a wedding tomorrow. We live in the US in a place where it's gotten pretty bad. Literally everything has cancelled or asked her to reschedule, but she said no. Instead she got an Airbnb and is doing it all herself despite the rules and guidelines. I'm the maid of honor. I had to tell her yesterday that I couldn't go because I didn't think it was safe. She did not respond well, like at all. I have a lung condition and my partner has asthma. It made no sense for us to go to a gathering like a wedding right now. She told me that I was choosing fear of a little virus over her special day. I've tried calling her several times and she won't answer my calls. She said she is disgusted by me. Everything about this sucks so much, and based on her reactions I don't think she will ever see it from my side. I bet in the next month or so, she will understand your decision. A lot of people aren't taking this seriously at all. I hope so. And I just have to know that she's speaking out of anger and hurt and distress. This kind of behavior is very unlike her, so hopefully when this whole thing blows over she will understand. I was supposed to fly to Berlin to celebrate my 20th birthday. Cancelled. So I decided to invite a few friends over to celebrate at home. Cancelled as well. Ended up celebrating by myself with pizza and Rainbow Six Siege. Do you just imagine how hard the entire world is going to rage when this crap is over with? Next gen baby boom. I've had to postpone my hobby licking door handles in public places. According to SpongeBob, that's illegal on other planets. Well, now we know why. My last semester of college. Our spring break got extended a week, and then we are finishing the semester online. Graduation ceremony cancelled. We're all just going home. After we move out, I won't get to finish out with my friends and my college experience is just over. Same here. Some of my friends are still staying in our apartment at school, but a few have already gone home, and I have no idea what I'm gonna do. Can't go to any bars or cafes in town. The graduation party we've been planning all year is probably not gonna happen. What crappy luck. My normal routine. I have bipolar, and one of the most important things for maintaining my mental health is keeping a routine. My life is boring. I go to uni, I come home, and go to the gym. I go out for a coffee or a tea, or go to get groceries, and then I relax for a while before bed. Now, uni is closed, the supermarket is in a complete state, and although my gym is open, I have obvious concerns about going there. Such a sudden change in my routine, coupled with being unable to contact my GP, has already created a bit of a wobble. I'm not sure what direction it'll go, but I'm genuinely worried about my mental state. Everyone keeps saying it's easy to stay at home, but for me it really isn't. I've tried home workouts, but it's never going to be the same as powerlifting at a gym. My usual diet is having to change because of people ransacking the shops. Fortunately my sleep has remained fairly solid. My sleep routine changing is normally the big indicator of going into a hypomanic or manic episode, so at this point I just about have it together. I'm just worried what several months of this will do to me. I still have my physical health, though, which I'm certainly not taking for granted. I use that as a way to try to ground myself when I start to ramp up a bit. Yes, I relate. My life is boring as well, but I require a routine to keep my bipolar in check, and with all of this downtime I know I'm going to fall into a deep rut. I'm worried about New York City. It's a very interconnected place, unaccustomed to being isolation or self-sufficiency. We live our lives in public, we hang out at cafes, stores, parks, and bars because our apartments are cramped, and we eat out constantly because the food scene is great. Grocery shopping in the city is hassle, and sharing cooking space with roommates can be tough. We ride the subway, or take Uber pools to get around. We even do our laundry in public at laundromats. It's very difficult and uncomfortable to sustain oneself in just a few hundred square feet of, often shared, space. Quarantine is a massive shift in the usual flow of goods and services. Rent for commercial space is astronomical. So many places that closed for this pandemic might never be able to open again. I hope all the restaurants, coffee shops, museums, and independent bookstores will be able to bounce back after this. But I read somewhere that the city might see devastation akin to the Great Depression. I hope that isn't true. Not in New York City, but I'm in a small town and as I'm close with my boss. Yesterday we had to shut down the dining room at our restaurant. We're out smoking after we got the news, and I asked him how long he could afford to stay closed. He said he can wait 2 months and expect to return to normal operations. If it's longer, very few people will have their jobs back, and his staff will mostly be family. Shopping at the grocery store. People panic buying everything makes shopping either a joke or a nightmare. Also, a loss of personal time. Used to like having some time alone after getting the kids to school, but school was cancelled for this past week and all through next week. By March 30th, they'll probably decide to close the schools for the rest of the year like other states have done, and all the kids will be doing online school, which, while it's not exactly homeschooling, I'll have to be on hand. to answer questions or direct them how to find their own answers, as well as checking in on their progress to make sure that they are working and get on them to work if they are not. But I'm a fairly social introvert homebody, so the social distancing and not going out any more than is needed is right in my wheelhouse. It's like I've been training my whole life for it. I was just about to move out of my parents' house and I just had a job interview that went super well. Now everywhere is laying people off, and I'm unlikely to be able to move for months. It gets better. My ex came out of the woodwork and contacted me, told me how she'd turned herself around. I reluctantly agreed to meet up with her, and she was everything I hoped she'd be before. However, she's stuck having the kid of someone she doesn't get on with at all, and I realized how much I missed her. So now, instead of just being able to easily move on with my life and go somewhere else, I'm stuck in a house with my father, who was emotionally abusive, and I've got hardly any friends available to spend time with whilst I feel lonely as frick. I was right on the brink of getting to the next chapter of my life and being whoever I wanted to be, and now it's like someone has put my life on pause and taken a sweaty, steaming crap on my chest for good measure. To be so close and yet so far from the two things that mean the most to me. The only thing keeping me sane is writing music. I wish I was anywhere but where I'm right now. I hate this miserable crap. Just give me the virus already. Be careful with your ex. Your judgment might be clouded from the time you spent away from her. A kid is no easy responsibility to take in, especially in this time where you don't even have your place yet. Work hard, sure, you'll be okay. Listen to this. It's so easy to play a role she knows you want for a few hours, to work you and then just go back to normal. So many things. My wife is about to lose her job. Ironic because she's a doctor. They are moving her to telemedicine, but the volume of patients coming in for non-emergency care is going down, and I don't think they'll fill her schedule with remote visits, but maybe I'm wrong. My father's 90th birthday party was cancelled. My son's school's all closed. I'm betting that I won't see a graduation ceremony for my oldest. It was scheduled for May 20th in Yankee Stadium. Summer travel plans. We had planned to take the kids and my mum's parents to Europe while they were still able to travel and talk about what happened to them. They are Holocaust survivors who defected in the 70s to escape communism. I'm an art photographer. I shot 3 models yesterday. I've decided that's the last shoot until this is over. I was supposed to attend a wedding of a model this weekend. They delayed it 3 weeks, but I suspect it won't happen then either.